everyone, and welcome to Holiday Steam. I am starting out over here because I want to show off the things I drew on the whiteboard because it took a while. But I am really excited. We're going to have 3 really fun holiday themed STEM crafts to try out. I'm going to be moving over there to where my workspace is. But we're going to learn some cool stuff. We're going to make some cool crafts. All the supplies you need should be included in your craft kit. I'll let you know if there's any extra stuff you need, aside from stuff like scissors or pencils, like stuff you'll just have around the house. And with that said, let's get started. I also would just like to share that I've got my sweater that says Dachshund Through the Snow on. I've got a dachshund at home, so dachshund merchandise is great. I love this sweater. It has a dachshund and a sweater on it. Just thought I'd share. Anywho, so the first craft we're going to make today is an ornament using binary code. Binary code is a language that computers use to communicate, and it's all in ones and zeros. So when you enter a command into a computer, it uses binary code to tell the computer what to do and enact what you program it to do. Hopefully I can include a better explanation than that in the Facebook post, but we're going to be using this guide sheet that you will get in your kit. You may recognize this if you did the binary code bracelets about 1,000 years ago in like the summer, maybe? I don't remember when that was. 2020's been 10 years long. But you'll get this cheat sheet that tells you how each letter is spelled in binary code. I've been doing a lot of embroidering lately. But you'll see that rather than ones and zeros, we're using one color to represent ones and one color to represent zeros. Now, instead of white and black, you guys are going to get some red beads and you're going to get some green beads. So I'm going to say red is my ones and green is my zeros. And what you're going to do next is pick a short word. I would say about 3 letters, something like joy or elf if you're going for something holiday-ish. And you're also going to get this guide sheet. So I'm going to tilt down my camera and I'm going to do joy. I think that sounds holiday-ish. So I'm going to write 1 letter with each of these rows. So it'll look like this. From there, you can even do your name if you have a shorter name. We're going to be using pipe cleaners as the base of our ornament. The ornament's going to look something like this when we're all done. And you're going to get some beads, pipe cleaner, and ribbon. And so I would say don't do a more than 4 or 5 letter word. So pick your name or a short word. But I'm going to consult my cheat sheet, and my first letter is J. So I'm going to use this sheet as a planning guide and fill in what I see here so I know what I'm doing when I string my beads. So it looks like for J, that's black. Black is, I'm going to use red instead of black. So I'm going to fill in as I see it on the sheet. So if you were to enter this into a computer, so now I'm going to use green to represent my zeros. And looking at my sheet, looks like I want to fill that in wherever I left a blank space on that first letter. So if I were to enter this into a computer, it would translate the J-O-Y into binary code, and this is how it would be represented in ones and zeros. So the J would translate into 101101001. Again, there are probably internet resources that could explain the binary code way better than I could, but I'm going to go ahead and do my other 2 letters and get back to you once those are done. Okay, so here's what my finished guide sheet looks like. These darker boxes are red colored over green because I spaced out a little, but I can use this as a guide sheet when I make my ornament. So I'm going to put my information aside, and I hope to give you guys a little instruction sheet about this too. This was an open exploration activity about a year ago when open exploration time was a thing we had back in the before times. But for the next part, you're going to grab a pipe cleaner. You should have one in your kit. And you're going to grab some beads. You're going to get some red, green, and white beads in your kit. And you can choose whatever colors you want. You don't necessarily have to do red and green. You can do red and white and make it like a candy cane. There's all sorts of stuff you can try out with these. But 2 of these are going to be your 1s and your 0s, and the other color is going to be your delimiter. This is a term for a space between coded letters that indicates where one letter begins and another ends. So you're going to choose that as kind of a spacer between your letters so you know what each letter looks like. So I'm going to use red for my 1s and green for my 0s and white for my delimiter. So I'm going to start stringing beads in the orders I see my colors on my guide sheet. So let's tilt this down again. Let's turn this so you guys can see it. So it looks like first I want a red to begin the J. So I'm going to grab a red bead and I'm going to string it onto my pipe cleaner. And it looks like I need a green for a 0. And I'll give you guys hopefully enough beads to spell longer words if you want to. Then I need 2 red, 2 more 1s, another green, a red, a green, and 1 more red. And then I'm going to grab a white bead to make that delimiter. So here we have our letter J in binary code. And I'm going to go ahead and make the next 2 letters and show you guys how it turns out. Okay, so now you'll have, this is my letters J-O-Y spelled out in binary code with beads, and I put a delimiter at either end for the sake of consistency. And I'm going to set my guide sheet aside. Now we're going to finish up making our ornaments. So you're going to bend your pipe cleaner into a shape kind of like this. You notice that this is a 3-letter word. That's about what fits on there. You can probably get a 4th letter on there. Maybe even a 5th, but this is kind of a good way to get it centered, is to stick to something short. But you're going to bend your pipe cleaner up like this into a kind of loop. Then bend one side over to make a little hook, do the same on the other side, and then twist that so it kind of locks into place. This way it won't come apart and your beads won't fall off. And if you want, you can kind of make a point there and twist that so you don't have those sharp edges. And now you'll have like a little loop that can hang from your tree. And just to make that fun, I'm going to cut a little piece of ribbon out. Don't want it super long. I'd say about this much will do. I'm actually going to cut myself a little guide for when I make the craft kits. And I am going to hold both sides of my ribbon like this in one hand, so I've got a loop. Then loop those 2 loose ends through like this. And you might even want to fiddle with that so that your 2 ends are even. I'm going to redo it. Ignore my email pinging at me. It is loud. And you want to make sure that's centered. So you have something like that. And then you can tie that into a bow. And now you have a way to attach the hook to your tree. You can even just tie that in the loop. And then you will just stick your little Christmas tree hook in there. And that is how we make an ornament with binary code. And again, you'll have all the beads and the ribbon and the pipe cleaner in your kit. So I think that's really fun. Some coding so you can code your own ornament. For our next holiday STEM activity, we're going to be using symmetry to make some paper snowflakes. So I'm going to show you guys 2 ways to do this. The first one, all you'll need is a sheet of paper, a pencil, some scissors, which are all the way over here, and I'm going to just use this tape roll. I like having something round. Your snowflake doesn't necessarily have to be round, But I am going to start by using my stencil. You can use copper bowl or just freehand it. And I'm going to draw a circle. And now I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out. You'll see you can probably get several snowflakes out of a page. I've got a circle. I'm going to put my paper aside. First thing I'm going to do is fold it in half like this. Then fold that in half again. So you have quarters. Look like this. Then fold that in half again. So you've got kind of a rounded triangle there. And I like to draw myself a guideline. So this will be the edge of your circle. The point will be the middle. And then these will be inside of the circle. So I'm going to, I think I want a hole in the middle. So I'm going to draw myself a guideline. I would like, I think maybe 2 diamond shapes. And, see if I can make a heart shape. So what you want to do for the ones in the middle is draw half of the shape you want. And for the edge, I'm going to make it a little wavy. Now, something that's very important to note is if you're doing designs in the middle, don't make it go all the way to the corners. You're going to need some space in the corners. So what you're going to do after that, you see, as I said, like when you're drawing your design, you want to make sure you have space on the edges there. You don't want to go all the way to the corners of your triangle. Now, this is where you're going to probably want something to collect your scrap paper, but you're just going to cut out along your guidelines. Okay, so this is the fun part. I've got my triangle all cut out, and now we're going to do the reveal. We're going to carefully unfold, and you can see how that became that heart shape I was looking for, because it's reflected. And that is what my snowflake looks like. Isn't that cool? So you can see on our fold lines, each of these fold lines acted like a line of symmetry, and the shapes that we drew were reflected over that line in order to create an image. So because symmetry means that 2 things will be the same on either side, when I decorated the triangle to have 2 little triangles and half a heart shape, when it was reflected, that combined those 2 triangles into kind of this diamond shape and this heart shape. But each little wedge is exactly alike on my snowflake. And I think that's really cool. And there is another way that you can make paper snowflakes, is that if you go online and look up paper snowflake template, you'll find all sorts of things. So I found one here that I'm going to include in your bag, and these help you make these really, really cool designs. So I'm going to show you guys how to make one of these as well. So you'll get instructions for this on your little sheet, but you're going to follow these guidelines. After you cut out your square, fold that in half, so that the guidelines are up. Fold that in half again, each time keeping those guidelines up. Keep it taut along that guideline. And then I believe you want to fold each of these sections along the guidelines to the back. So it will look like that from the front, and this on the back, and then just do that same exact thing. This might take a little finagling. You'll just want to use those black guidelines. Those will help you out. Got that folded? I'm going to do something very similar to what I did in the Design Your Own Snowflake, but I'm going to cut away all the gray parts. So I'm going to cut, and it's a little thick. You might want to ask an adult for help, but I'm just going to cut on the black lines, keep the white parts, and cut away the gray. And I'm going to come back to you guys once I've done that. Alright, so now we've got our more intricate internet template snowflake cut out. We're going to unfold it and see what happens. I'm very excited to see this one. I hope I did it right. Oh wow, look at that! Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so neat. I'm genuinely surprised that it turned out that well. And you can see, if you look at our creases, we've got that same line of symmetry. You can see that if I hold the snowflake up like this, and look at that line there, it's reflected, and it's exactly alike on either side. I think that's really cool. You can even see that clearly on the side that has the guidelines, that you look at this half and this half, and it's reflected over that line of symmetry. And I think that's like some really fun, subtle math, and a really neat witchery craft. You can make a whole bunch of these and decorate your house. I like to tape them in windows, or you can even take needle and thread and hang them from your ceiling. There's all sorts of fun things you can do. But that's 2 different ways to make a paper snowflake. And I'll put one of those templates in your kit. And I also am including some Frozen themed ones, like the Disney movie, because I like that movie, and I had a bunch of little templates saved from a program I did way in the before times, like a year ago, when we were all actually in the branch. So I wanted to get rid of those, so now you guys get them. Yay! For our last holiday stem craft, we're going to be making a decoration, and this is called a volumetric, and I think it looks kind of like a snowflake or a star, and I think that's perfect because you can use it both for like Christmas, for the holidays, and you can even just have it out during winter past the New Year. So we're going to make ours blue and white because I think that's just wintry, and you can even use it like multiple seasons. And I am going to give you guys in your kits a piece of white cardstock and some light blue. And you'll need those. And then from home, you'll need a glue stick, some scissors, a pencil, and a ruler. For this stem craft, we're going to be doing measuring, and we're going to be using symmetry again. So to start off, you'll grab one of your pieces of paper, and we're going to measure out 3 3-inch strips. The website that I got this craft from said to just fold your paper like a brochure, but I don't think that's super precise. So we're going to go on the long end of our paper, get the right end of the ruler up, and we're going to measure out 1, 2, 3 inches, put a little tick mark, 1, 2, 3 inches, 1, 2, 3 inches. Then go to the other end of your paper and do the same thing. Measure out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you should be able to connect your 2 little tick marks. If you want, you can even do another one in the middle and draw a line. That way you'll know where to cut. And you'll do that for all 3 of your strips. And you'll need 3 of each color, so you'll need 6 in all. And through the magic of filming this video earlier and preparing, I've already cut out my strips. So the next thing you're going to do, I need to grab my guide sheet here, is take one of your strips and fold it in half. Oops, I've got 2. But you want to fold it in half on along the long side. So connect the 2 short sides. And give that a very good crease. Very, very good crease. So continuing to keep, you want the creased side towards you and the open side away from you. We're going to find the center of that strip. So I'm going to go and line my strip up with the beginning of inches on my ruler. And half of 3, I believe, is 1.5. Yes. So I'm going to draw myself a little guide mark there. And we want to draw 4 lines. So we're going to put, I'm going to say you want to go, starting at your center mark, always at 1.5, go 1/4 of an inch on either side and draw a line. So at 1 1/4 inches and at 1 3/4 inches. Then go, from that point, go out 1/2 inch on either side. So from 1 1/4, you want to go to 3/4 of an inch and draw a tick mark there. And then from the 3/4 of an inch, go to 2 1/4 inches. And you're going to, so you'll notice now based on my little tick marks there, we've got a center point that we're not going to use anymore. You've got 2 inside lines and 2 outside lines. And I'm even going to erase my center point so I don't confuse myself. But it looks as if we want to have about 1 inch at the top there. So I'm even going to mark that off real fast. That even might be too much. Pardon me for a moment. So I measured about 3/4 of an inch from the top and gave myself a really faint guideline that I'm going to erase later. But we're going to take our 2 outside lines and measure up so that they reach that little guideline we drew. So measure up until they're about 3/4 of an inch from the top. And then do that on the other side as well. And from there, we're going to take our shorter lines and make them, I would say, can you tell I'm kind of making this up a little bit as I go? I would say you want those to be about 1.5 inches long. And once you're done, you'll have something that looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and erase my top guideline once again so I don't get confused. You have something that looks like this, and you're going to cut along each of those lines. Make sure you don't cut all the way to the top. Just cut slits into your cardstock. And you want to make sure that the outside lines are the same height and the inside lines are the same height. So next we're going to do a little paper folding, and I've actually done some already because I thought I was filming and I wasn't. But you're going to be making shapes that look like this. And they're actually pretty easy to make. So you're going to take one of these pieces that you've cut out, and you notice you have these 2 outside flaps and these inside flaps. You're going to take the inside one and fold it back towards you, so you'll have kind of this football goalpost shape. Next, you're going to open this up, open up your whole thing, so that the pointy side is facing up. It should look like this if you set it down. Then you'll take these 2 outside flaps, and you notice you have this kind of a pointed crease here. You're going to fold that in so it's kind of inversed. And you're going to do that on either side. Then you have this middle flap, and then you have these little slits in there. You're going to take either side of this little slit and fold it in. So crease it like that, and then take this middle crease here and fold that in. So now you have a shape that looks like this, and I like to push the whole thing down like a pop-up book and give that all a really good push. And you open it up and you've got these real crisp angles, and it looks like this. Kind of a diamond shape, a square within a square. And you're going to do that with all your strips. I'll show you guys again because I like to see it twice. Hold it like this. Fold it back towards you. All the way. You want to make sure that you hit the ends of your creases. And make all of your creases really, really tight. Then open that up so the point is up. Reverse those 2 outside ones so that they're pointing down. Then do the same in the middle. Fold that in, and fold that in. Then push the whole thing down. The white is a little sturdier than the blue, so it's a little easier. And give it a really firm crease. And it'll open up like that. So now I've gone ahead and I've folded up all 6 of my pieces into these cool little boxes. So I'm going to take a blue one and a white one, and I'm going to find some scrap paper. And we're going to start putting together each of our shapes like this. So I'm going to flatten that. I'm going to take a glue stick, and just put glue all over just this like arch part. Just cover the whole thing. You can also just do this with a stapler, but I think the glue will make it like look crisper. Then take the square archy part on another one, on a white one, and line them up and just hold that down for a minute. You're probably going to want to line up your bottom edges, and they might not match up perfectly depending on how you cut them. That's okay, it'll still look good. And when you're done, you'll have something that looks like this, like a rectangle. From there, and you might want to give it a minute to dry. I'm going to wipe up some of the glue. You're just going to keep going around. You're going to put glue on the next of the archy kind of shapes. You don't want to put it anywhere but those edges. Just cover that very well. Get it good and sturdy. Then grab a blue piece and match up those bottom parts and carefully align it. So now you'll have, this is what half of it looks like. Make sure it comes apart easy, and you're going to just keep doing that. So as you'll go, you'll notice that as you connect them, you'll get a little pile like this, and this is really cool. When you open it up, it looks like this. I'm so great. Isn't that neat? Oh my goodness, that's so cool. It's like a pop-up. And to finish it off, all you gotta do is fold it up like a pile again. Put some glue on your last blue piece. And connect it with your last white piece. And now you have a really cool decoration. Check that out. Isn't that really neat? So I recommend holding it up like this, because that way all your diamond shapes kind of show up. Mine's a little crinkly, but I also probably should have set it out to dry longer. It's a good idea to kind of pinch these ends together while it's drying. But I think that looks really cool. And you notice that we've got that symmetry again, that each of these shapes looks just the same. So we've got some rotational symmetry, that no matter how you hold it up, it looks like the same shape. And I think that looks kind of like a star, looks kind of like a snowflake. I think that's like a really great shape for the holiday season. And if you want to put it away, it collapses up pretty well. So that is, and I also recommend taking some string and stringing it through one of your diamond shapes. Maybe one of the blue ones, because the white's a little sturdier. And you can hang it up. And you notice it's pretty big. You can try making it with like really little strips and put it on your Christmas tree. Or you can just put it in a window for the holiday season. Or put some string through it and hang it from the ceiling. So that is how you use symmetry and measuring to make a really cool Christmas decoration, or just holiday decoration, winter in general. But that is 3 holiday stem crafts. I hope you guys had fun. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments of the Facebook post, or you can email me at ajohns@carr.org. And please, if you want to, go ahead and share pictures of your crafts in the Facebook comments. We love seeing your stuff here at Eldersburg. And I hope you all have a great holiday season. Thank you for watching and for signing up for the craft kits, and have a great day. Bye!